Well, welcome everybody to the online program for the alumni of the Sunshine Coast Health Center up here in Powell River, BC. And the topic this week is Eugene O'Neill. So if you're a client here, you remember Eugene O'Neill because we talk about him a bit in the center. And one of the things we've done at the center recently is we're trying out a little project, and the project is we're watching movies on what an addiction is, how to treat it, things like as portrayed by in the movies. One of the movies we showed the fellows was called The Iceman Cometh. It's from 1973. Lee Marvin plays probably the most dominant character, although I think maybe the real hero of the movie is a guy by the name of Larry, played by Robert Ryan. Anyway, the setting of the movie is this. So a bunch of guys wake up in this very seedy bar, which was actually a real bar that Eugene O'Neill went to and popularly named the Hellhole, but a seedy bar in downtown New York City. And it hasn't even opened up yet, and all the fellows are passed out on the tables, and they're all hungover from the night before. And they're waiting. The reason they're there, they're not in their rooms. The reason that they're there is they're waiting for Hickey. Now, Hickey is a guy who shows up every year on the birthday of the bar owner. And what he does is he buys everybody drinks for the day, and he's a very entertaining fellow, keeps everyone laughing. So they're all looking forward to this, particularly the free booze. At any rate, Hickey finally shows up, but this time Hickey is stone cold sober. And this is, all the patrons don't know what to make of this. Was it some kind of weird thing? And Hickey tells them, "I found the answer, and I'm going to help all of you find your own happiness." Right? And oh geez, what's this guy? What's coming up next? At any rate, Hickey, very good salesman, so he convinces them all to clean up. It's a total disaster. Anyway, we get the truth about Hickey at the end of the movie, and the truth is that he's cleaned up, yes, and here's the way he did it. He said all his life he's felt incredible guilt. And the reason he felt guilty is because his loving wife would always forgive him. He would go out and get drunk, come back home, and she would see him, and he would promise to clean up, and she would believe him and say, "That's okay, dear." And he would cheat on her. And every time he went home, she would forgive him. And after years of this, it was driving Hickey nuts. He actually says, if she only knew how much guilt she was causing me, she wouldn't have done this, right? She wouldn't even yell at me. She wouldn't even get mad at me. She always forgave me, and she always pretended to believe me when I told her I was going to clean up, all that kind. And the guilt was just so great for Hickey that what he eventually ended up doing is shooting her. So he killed her. That eliminated his guilt. And once his guilt was gone, he didn't need to drink anymore. And this is a key theme in Eugene O'Neill's work. According to O'Neill, one of the main dynamics driving addiction was guilt. But it's a very special form of guilt. It's not so much the guilt of hurting other people. And that's really not what Hickey's problem was. Hickey's guilt came from inside himself. And this form of guilt is easily the worst form. And you can think of it in the sense of, if you look back on your life and look back for all the money, for all the energy, for all the time, for all the creativity you spent getting intoxicated, what did you accomplish? Right? And it's that looking back at your life where you don't live up to your own standards for yourself, that is this deep feeling of guilt. And according to Eugene O'Neill, one of the main driving forces of the addiction. Okay, so that's an interesting take on it. In the 12-step program, of course, in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they would say the driving force was self-centeredness. Well, Eugene O'Neill takes a little different view, and he says the driving force is this guilt that you have not lived up to your own expectations of yourself. So that's a very interesting way of looking at the addiction. At any rate, that's this one, and we'll be back next time with another topic from the Iceman Cometh.